This is a low-level spirit field that can only plant ordinary spirit essence. It becomes a wasteland over the long river of time. That is its ultimate fate. But when I first saw it, I spent my entire fortune to lease it. I filled it with worthless ordinary spirit maidens. Everyone secretly mocks you as a fool. But they don't know that you harvest spirit essence while also reaping things they cannot see. At this moment, dawn is just breaking. You are woken up by the commotion next door. You stare with blood-veined, blood-red eyes. Cursing, you push open the wooden door. Shoulder the spirit kitchen. Get ready to go out. An unnamed fury rises from deep within. The neighbor female cultivator made too much noise last night and kept people up all night. You grit your teeth and silently swear. When I finally have snacks, the first thing I'll do is set up a soundproofing formation. The soundproofing in this crappy place is terrible. Last night you intended to meditate and train, but that commotion made your mind restless. Your chi and blood surge. You almost went berserk. There was no choice. So you had to forcefully calm yourself. Tonight you stay up all night, thinking about having to work in the spirit field today. Your mindset completely blows up. You've been transmigrated for 5 years. What's the point of cultivating immortals now? You can't even get a stable sleep. You thought cultivation meant soaring through the heavens and vanishing. Sword chi cutting across. But in reality you're an unlucky bastard with a fake 4-element spirit root. Abandoned by your clan. Exiled to this cursed place to serve as a laborer. Your cultivation has been stuck at the second tier of chi refinement for 60 years. No hope of becoming an immortal. Your only task is to be a linglong. To farm in the distant rear. And today happens to be the day to harvest spirit essence. But there isn't a hint of joy on your face. Instead, your heart is all over the place. Because a bountiful harvest also means the higher-ups will come to collect taxes. Halfway through, a monk with an old, cute appearance darts out of an alley. He's your neighbor. Kai Laoju is at the 4th tier of chi refinement. His cultivation is higher than yours. You force a smile. Greet him. Then sigh again. He says his Lingyu Ju skill is modest. He fears this year's harvest is doomed. Kai Laoju chuckles. He says, after paying taxes, let's go to the Juzan Pavilion for a drink. You shake your head in refuse. Mainly because you're poor. Kai Laoju clicks his tongue. He says, you kid, you're really no fun. There's wine today. Care to get drunk today? You immediately retort, fine. You offer to treat. He scolds you on the spot. Go away. Not long after, you both arrive at the place. Hundreds of acres of forest fields spread out in terraces on the hillside. Golden green foliage sways in the wind. You both walk to your respective fields and start working. But you look at the half-acre of lush rice seedlings in your field. Your mouth twitches uncontrollably. It clashes with the surrounding sea of gold. Anyone who doesn't know would think you planted garlic sprouts. This is the masterpiece of your half-baked rain-soaked Jew. Uneven rainfall. Reduced yield is now inevitable. A wave of worry fills your heart. Yet you still swing your spirit lotus and begin harvesting. The sun sets in the west. You just finish bundling the harvested lingmen. Exhausted like a dead dog. Then you hear the sound of a magical artifact slicing through the air. Your heart tightens. You look up. An azure leaf vessel slowly descends. A stout man with a protruding belly steps down from it. It's Du Haifeng. He is the overseer of this forest field. He is one of you delicate soil emperors. Du Haifeng walks over with a cheerful smile. He grabs a handful of rice, puts it in his mouth, and chews. He says the quality is good. After speaking, he pulls out a soybean artifact. He starts weighing 80 jin from the 2 compartments. At a 70% tax rate. The due amount is 196 jin. Then he furrows his brows. He asks why it's less than the previous season. The smile on Du Haifeng's face vanishes instantly. His gaze turns cold. Your heart skips a beat. You hurriedly pull a small pouch from your bosom, containing most of your family's belongings. You hand it over with a forced smile. You say there was a small problem in the field. The shortfall can be made up with snacks. Du Haifeng weighs the pouch. His complexion softens a bit. But he still warns you. Only this once. It won't happen again. He puts your spirit rice into a storage bag. Before leaving, he says something with a hidden meaning. Do you know how much Kai Laoju paid? It's a little more than twice yours. Let me give you a tip. The senior official inside the gate will tally this year's tax rankings. The bottom 10 will all be dispatched to frontline battles. After saying that, he rides his magical vessel and departs triumphantly, leaving you standing there in a daze. Only 3 words remain in your mind. Assigned to the war camp. Night falls. You return to your hut. Close the door. Throw yourself heavily onto the bed. Like a dead dog. Your mind is a tangled mess. The battlefield is a meat grinder for low-level cultivators. With your current cultivation, going there means you'll be nothing but cannon fodder. You have only one thought in your heart. I don't want to be cannon fodder. I refuse to accept it, truly unwilling. You ruminate over it. A wave of fatigue washes over you. You drift into a drowsy sleep. Morty's brilliant light explodes deep within your soul. You have a very long dream. The next day, you wake up holding your throbbing head. You stagger, feeling dizzy, to the flower bed in the courtyard, preparing to wash up. This flower bed contains dozens of spiritual herbs. They are the ones you usually use for practicing spiritual language. But when you look up, you are completely stunned. You see 3 of them. And above each one, a string of golden text pops out from the spiritual path. Their names, agile, sensitive, harvestable, appear as golden entries that can be collected. The other 2 each display, ultimate spirit feather, 5 times and a faint magical power. Their maturity has also reached a harvestable stage. You rub your eyes hard. Unable to believe it. It's unbelievably amazing. It's a hallucination. You stare fixedly at those 3 lines of golden text, repeatedly confirming it's not a hallucination. A surge of ecstatic joy erupts from deep within your heart. The golden finger that was 5 years late finally arrives. Your once extinguished immortal path. now reignites with a blazing fire at this moment. Pressing excitement with strength, you approach cautiously. You reach out and snap those 3 spiritual paths at the roots. Just as you are about to put them away, 3 beams of light flash from the spiritual grain and transform, forming 3 leaves that quietly appear within your corpse. You immediately return to your room. Close the door. Sit cross-legged on the bed. Your mind flickers. You point at the white leaf that glows with faint mana. In an instant, a pure mana far beyond your expectations bursts forth in your dantian. You are startled. You quickly circulate the everlasting spring technique. The practice of the ring is clearly weak. Yet the mana is this much. After a while, you feel the mana in your dantian has grown a bit. A look of ecstatic joy spreads across your face. This boost matches 3 months of hard cultivation you have been stuck on. Even the second-tier bottleneck shows signs of loosening. If you get a few more breakthroughs, the 3rd tier will be within reach. You force yourself to stay calm and steady. You must not get carried away. You must stay steady. You decide to stick to your usual routine. You can't let anyone notice anything abnormal. After finishing your meal, you, as usual, go to your spiritual field. You walk around once. You discover a pattern. Only the Lingzi mushrooms you personally planted can possibly produce a magnet. And the probability is extremely low. In the half-acre of your immature forest path, there are tens of thousands of rice seedlings. But only one flickers with faint mana as a magnetic strip. That one just produced 3 at once. As if the ancestral tomb were smoking green. Seeing no one around, you no longer hesitate. The portrait of Du Haifu hangs like a knife over your head. You must quickly increase your power. First, try to accelerate the ripening of this half-acre. You take a deep breath. Your mind shifts. And you consume the acceleration tag and an ultimate spirit language. You snap your fingers to form the spell technique, shaking the half-acre spirit field as one. A burst erupts. Far denser than your usual casting, clouds gather overhead, pouring rain like a deluge. A downpour. This is the ultimate rain. Your heart trembles. You feel the smooth, unobstructed flow of magical energy and the efficient mobilization of heaven and earth spirit energy. A hint of insight rises within you, realizing the gap lies here. This rain lasts as long as an incense stick burns. Your complexion is pale, but inside you feel an unprecedented effect. Instantaneous. In just half a day, that half-acre of spirit field skyrockets. By evening it even begins to form ears of grain. The astonishing speed makes you gasp a cold breath. Early the next morning when you return, that half-acre of spirit rice is fully mature, gleaming with golden light. Both yield and quality have improved by more than 20%. And the spirit mushroom with the tag you harvested has become part of your cultivation. You feel delighted, full of anticipation for the future. In the blink of an eye, half a month passes. During this time you also rented 2 acres from Du Haifu, planting spirit rice seedlings on all 5 acres of spirit fields. The remaining ultimate spirit feather attribute makes your understanding of this spell grow deeper. It seems you're about to master it yourself. You now have surplus grain on hand. You can finally have some free time. Today you plan to go to Fang Market. There are 2 items you must buy, a storage bag and a soundproof formation. You change into clean clothes. Carrying a bag of 0 rice, you head out. Just as you reach the main road, you run into 2 people head-on. The man is the only chi refining cultivator in this slum. He is the senior cultivator, Taoist Rong. And the woman beside him, arm linked with his, is your next-door neighbor, Li Yonli. You quickly set down your rice bag and bow respectfully with clasped hands. Taoist Rong merely hums through his nose, then walks straight past with Li Yonli, without giving you a glance the whole way. In front of a low-level cultivator like you, he has grounds for pride. You don't mind. You just watch the direction they depart and sigh inwardly, thinking tonight will be another fierce battle. This strengthens your resolve to purchase the soundproof formation. Soon after, you arrive at a shop in the center of Fang Market. This is a channel introduced by Kai Laoju. Safe and reliable. You directly ask the shopkeeper to sell you 108 jin of spirit rice at the market price of 1 piece per 5 jin. Lower grade spirit stones. Taoist friend, how would you like to proceed with the transaction? You feel quite pleased, right? You receive 21 spirit stones and a few fragment spirit crystals. Do you have a soundproof formation, a steam shop? You hold the still cold snack in your hand. You ask, and the shopkeeper answers. There is a low-tier soundproof formation. 10 lower-grade spirit stones. You grit your teeth and say, I'll also buy a storage bag. Can it be cheaper? The shopkeeper says, the storage bag is 12 yuan. That makes a total of 22 yuan. I'll give you a sincere discount of 21 yuan. The transaction is completed. You walk out of the shop. You pat your empty money pouch. You can't help but sigh. Where you make money. You can't think of bringing even a single cent home. But looking at the brand new storage bag at your waist, you believe these snacks will soon earn back 100-fold or 1,000-fold profit. You return to your room. The soundproof formation is set up. The whole world instantly becomes quiet. From now on, no matter how chaotic the neighbor becomes, it will no longer affect you. Ah, that feels comfortable. You let out a long breath. From now on, all your thoughts are focused on those 5 acres of forest fields. This directly concerns your future and luck. Therefore, 10 days later, when the rice seedlings in the field sprout lushly, you rush over at once. What you care most about is what new entries will be generated this time. You glance over. 4 light points stand out prominently. 2 are still faint. 1 is a city area beast decision, 5 times. And 1 is a mother seed beast yummy. You feel a surge of joy. Besides an old friend's faint magical power, there are actually 2 new ones. Unfortunately, there is still no ripening. You click your tongue. A bit regretful. Beast driving awareness. You're familiar with this thing as a spirit fat spell that drives away crop-stealing monster beasts. But this spell is surprisingly hard to master. Even more troublesome than the rain-soaking technique. Only a few entries know it. The next 5 times need no thought. It must be usable 5 times. Then your gaze locks tightly on the last entry. Sho Yami. Damn, that name sounds familiar. You furrow your brows, searching frantically in your memory. Suddenly a flash of insight. You remember. You slam your storage bag. An old booklet falls out in response. This is the sect-issued introductory guide to spirit plants for us low-rank linglongs. You flip quickly to the last few pages. You find beast tooth rice. Easy, all are low grade. The spirit plant grains are as snow white and translucent as a beast's teeth. Eating them not only boosts chi and blood, strengthens tendons and bones. The contained spirit energy is 5 times that of ordinary sprite rice. This stuff isn't the kind of sprite rice found on the continent. It's a proper low-grade spirit plant, specially for body refining cultivators. In the method, as soon as it appears, it's immediately snatched up. Of course, good things are naturally delicate. Cultivation conditions are extremely stringent. It must be irrigated with ultimate spirit and eternal long water. And the growth cycle is frighteningly long. Even the worst takes 2 years to mature. Yield is low. Price is 10 times that of sprite rice. The seeds are absurdly expensive. At the end of the booklet there's a line of red text. Special note. Anyone who successfully cultivates slim elegant rice, linglong, gets their taxes halved. Being able to grow a first-tier low-grade spirit value means you qualify to challenge a first-tier spirit value master. That status is completely different from the current low-level, easily manipulated existence. They are 2 completely different concepts. The Ya-Mi seeds have just been released. You were so excited you almost jumped up. Now these 5 acres have become your lifeline. You have to guard them tighter than your own eyes. 3 months later is tax day. That is the real gate of the underworld. Whether you survive depends on this round. So you dare not slack off at all. You meticulously cleared all the weeds in the field. Then you used the last ultimate spirit feather technique. Days passed one by one. You worked non-stop like an old ox. Every day, aside from tending the forest field, all your time was spent grinding the Changchun Palace and the Lingyu technique. After personally experiencing the ultimate spirit feather finale perfectly 5 times, the feeling of that spell became clearer in your mind. Finally, a month later, you stood on the field ridge, looking up at the forest clouds covering the whole 5 acres. You were ecstatic. The ultimate spirit feather finale was complete. From today on, even without an entry, you can cast this spell with your own skill. But using only Tier 2 refining chi mana is far from enough. Even so, for the sake of yield, you still gave it your all. Each time you performed the ultimate spirit feather technique, you drained the last drop of mana from your dantian. To ensure you can harvest spirits 2 to 3 times a week, you return from the field each time with a pale face, like a female sprite has sucked you dry. You have to lean on a wall just to walk. Now look at this. The neighbors' looks at you have all changed. They tease you in all sorts of ways. Are you spending every day taking care of the business next door for Li Yonli? You can only give an awkward smile. Too lazy to explain. Explain what, exactly? Peacefully farming is the true path. watching the rice stalks in the field grow fuller each day. You feel a deep sense of steadiness in your heart. Your effort finally isn't wasted. 2.5 months slip by in a flash. The spirits have matured. This time you collect 4 bell-shaped plants with entries. 4 leaves that emit a faint glow. They instantly merge into your corpse. Soon the harvest day arrives. Supervisor Du Haifu stands with his hands behind his back, strolling along the ridge like a foreman boss, overseeing everyone. When it's your turn, Du Haifu looks at the scene in your field. He pauses, surprised. Looking out. Your 5 acres of golden rice stalks, heavy with grain. Each stalk is so plump it seems about to burst. You have mastered the ultimate spirit feather. Du Haifu turns his head and scrutinizes you. After a while, he actually shows a hint of approval. You lower your head and reply, "I got lucky and succeeded a few days ago." He nods. He tells you to go harvest. You immediately start working efficiently. All day long. Your back is exhausted, nearly breaking. Finally, you gathered a full 8 large bags of 0 meters. Du Haifu began weighing 8 dan and 20 jin, paying 70% tax, totaling 574 jin. His words just finished. Suddenly, a massive lawship burst through the sky. It steadily hovered in midair. At the bow, a blue-robed elder with a stern face stood with his arms crossed. Behind him, 7 or 8 outer door disciples stood respectfully. Du Haifu, upon seeing this person, instantly seemed like a different person. He bowed deeply and rushed to pay respects to the ancient steward. This year's neighborhood taxes have all been collected. Please review them. After speaking, she carefully handed over a jade tablet. You also quickly lowered your head. This steward is clearly Du Haifu's direct superior. His aura was so imposing that no one dared to look up. Ancient steward Gug took the jade tablet, glanced over it. Then he ordered his disciples to gather all the over 300 numbered linglong together. Kai Laoju squeezed his way through the crowd to your side. He winked at you. He asked how the harvest was. You vaguely replied that it was okay. Then you retorted, asking if he had gotten rich last season. Why have you been silent? Kai Laojia's eyes flickered. He clearly looked guilty. At that moment, ancient steward Gug on the lawship spoke. His voice carried no emotion, yet it rang like a thunderclap in everyone's ears. This year's 3-season taxes have all been collected. Now announcing an internal order. The 10 people ranking at the bottom in 0-meter production for the whole year will be forcibly assigned. Frontline camps must not disobey. The crowd instantly erupted. Faces filled with terror and unease. Gug let out a cold snort. The pressure from his fully mastered chi cultivation burst apart. The entire venue fell silent. The production rankings for all 3 quarters are displayed here. I watched as soon as his words ended. A disciple beside me cast a spell. A massive light screen unfolded in midair. A dense array of names and numbers were clearly visible. You quickly look up to find your own name. Ranked 156th. You let out a long sigh. Your hanging heart finally settles. Mid-tier. You're safe. How could this be? Damn, 20 Jin. Kai Lao Ju beside you let out a gasp. You follow his gaze. A dramatic scene unfolded. On the light screen, your name was shockingly listed as 157th. Kai Ju Wu. He was just one rank behind you. Considering that his output had been ahead for the first 2 quarters. Who could have imagined your third quarter output would explode? One person raised the annual average score. Forcefully surpassed him. The last 10 meters, board the ship and follow me. Gug's cold voice rang again. Those 10 people's faces turned ashen instantly. They dared not resist. They could only be bound by the spell like walking corpses. Hope you all will strive even harder next year. And contribute to the sect. Gug, the steward, left one final remark. Next year's exile quota to the camps will be the bottom 30 meters. Those words were like a bucket of ice water poured over each survivor's head. Your heart sank as well. This time it was a sudden ambush. It caught everyone completely off guard. After all that, next year, all Linglongs will inevitably be locked in a life or death clash. Who wants to go to the front lines as cannon fodder? You look at the 4-leaf-like entries in your sea of knowledge. Your heart is filled with countless emotions. If, back then, you had cultivated the ultimate spirit feather within half a year, you wouldn't even dare to dream of doing this. But now you have not only achieved it, you still have over 250 Jin of spirit rice left. After selling it, you can stash another sum for snacks. With snacks, in this place that devours people, you gain an extra confidence to stay alive. But your cultivation is still too low. You know this well. Squeezing out magical power at such high intensity will inevitably damage your meridians over time. Moreover, you now have seeds of beast ya rice. To plant them, refining Qi level 3 is the most basic requirement. I wonder if those 2 faint magical entries can help me break through this barrier. It won't work without pushing yourself even harder. You must trigger the ripening entry. You have made up your mind to break through refining Qi level 3. You return to the quiet little hut. You sit cross-legged on the mat. Holding a low-grade spirit stone, you begin to circulate energy. A moment later, you open your eyes. You look at the spirit stone in your palm, now turned to powder. Your complexion looks a bit grim. Cultivating with a spirit stone is pure waste for my broken spirit root. You shake your head, still drawn to the entry's fragrance. It doesn't need any conversion at all. You steady your spirit, preparing to employ those 2 weak mana threads. These 2 threads are enough to match what I've been diligently cultivating for half a year. A thought flickers in your mind. The first leaf transforms into a warm current that surges into your body. Even though you've become accustomed to that surging flow of mana, it still makes your body shudder. You immediately guide the mana along the Changchun Palace pathway. Changchun technique. Using the family past technique, the mainland version has little power and cultivates as slowly as a turtle. Its only advantage is health cultivation, allowing you to live a few years longer than cultivators of the same rank. The mana also feels slightly richer. In the past you always thought that farming and health cultivation were fine. But now you understand, that resources are limited. Without fighting or grabbing, you can only waste away at the bottom for a long time. 1 weak mana thread is exhausted. Yet that bottleneck of yours remains completely unchanged. You furrow your brows, your expression turning serious. You clench your teeth, using up the last weak mana thread. After a long while, both mana threads are fully depleted. Yet I still couldn't break through. You can't help but sigh. This is the gap in talent. I'm just short of the peak of the second stage of chi refinement. Yet the final kick just won't land. Maybe a better spiritual route would help. With so much mana poured in, I would have broken through long ago. Nevertheless, you aren't too discouraged. Compared to the previously endless feeling, now it's already much better. I can't keep doing this. If it collapses, you must change your approach. First, consider body cultivation for self-protection and such. Growing beast tooth rice could be a first try at body cultivation. At least it gives me a bit more self-defense ability. But planting beast elegant rice requires a ripening boost attribute to go with it. Otherwise, a single failure will ruin the mother seed. It's a loss that would make grandma weep. You ruminate. A vague plan forms in your mind. So early the next morning, after breakfast, you head back to Qingyang Market. Still the Jushuen Pavilion. You slam the 220 jin of spirit rice in front of shopkeeper Liao. Shopkeeper Liao sees that much. His eyes light up a bit. His attitude toward you becomes noticeably more enthusiastic. A total of 44 spirit stones. Companion Chin. You were prepared. You pull out a blueprint depicting a small bell. You say, I want to commission this beast driving, ultimate use Shuming bell. Shopkeeper Liao recognizes it at a glance. What a coincidence. We have lower grade artifacts in stock. 10 spirit stones. You pause, stunned. That's so cheap. Hey, shopkeeper Liao chuckles. The key is that the technique is hard to master. The final step is just a gimmick. Before, many people in the war camp ordered custom ones. Only a few actually mastered them. So nobody buys them. You get it instantly. You promptly pay the 10 spirit stones. You put away that palm-sized bell. Then you casually say, do you have any pills that can boost cultivation, shopkeeper? You're still unwilling to give up on breaking through. The shopkeeper then invites you to the 3rd floor. A moment later, you walked out with a calm expression, carrying the remaining 34 spirit stones on you. But you couldn't spend a single one, because the cheapest pill on the 3rd floor is priced at 60 stones. Being poor in spirit stones is a kind of illness. On the way back, you stopped by Du Haifu's place. He wanted to rent another acre of spirit field. Given your current cultivation level, 5 or 6 acres is already the limit. Du Haifu told you that you were late. The last spirit field on the mountain has already been rented out. Your heart gave a sudden thump. Just as I guessed. Next year everyone will have to fight for survival. Winter arrived in the blink of an eye. Winter in Yun's great wilderness is especially cold. Light snow drifted over the shantytown. This is the rest period for the forest fields. It's also a rare chance for you to catch a breath. Early that day, You were clearing the snow at the doorway. The wooden door next door opened. Li Yanli stepped out wearing an eye-catching peach blossom jacket. The distinctive rouge scent on her mixed with the cold air and drifted toward you. You smiled and greeted her. She gave you a small smile. Her gaze swept over you. She asked if your harvest last season was good. You made a good haul of snacks, right? You politely replied that it was just luck. Just as you were about to return inside, she suddenly called out to you. A hint of shyness appeared on her face. She lowered her voice a bit, somewhat embarrassed, and said, "The commotion over there the other day was too loud. And it disturbed you. If you don't mind coming inside, come. Sister will make you something tasty. Consider it an apology." You're taken completely off guard by that blunt offer. An old face instantly flushes bright red. At an age full of youthful vigor, who can endure such a test? A buzzing sound rings in your head. You think. Your heart wavers in an instant. But just then, a strong, muscular figure flashes through your mind. The dragon cultivator friend who's at the 8th level of chi cultivation. Can't afford to provoke him, can't afford it. You instantly wilt. The earlier stir of excitement is doused cleanly by cold water. You awkwardly scratch your head and say, "My lower back hurt a bit when I turned the soil the other day." And without looking back, you slip back into the house. What a mess. My Taoist heart. You quickly splash cold water on your face. At that moment, the bang 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 of knocking echoes. Your heart jumps. No way. It really showed up at my door. Since you're already like this, I'll go all out against you today. You take a deep breath and fling the door open. Standing there is Kai Laoju, carrying 2 bags, with a grin plastered on his face. But he freezes when he sees you. How come it's you? You instinctively blurt out. Kai Laojia's smile stiffens, and he looks instantly displeased. He says he's kindly bringing you a pot of sweet potato stew, and you still turn it down. He turned to leave. You quickly pulled him back. You smiled and said you didn't mean it that way. Come inside quickly and sit, you urge. Kai Laoju stuffed a pot of wine into your arms. Irritated, he asked about the new neighbor nearby. You didn't know. You looked bewildered. He wore a look of bitter disappointment, as if iron failed to become steel. He said a cultivator had moved into the alley a few days ago. He was a genuine alchemist. Alchemist. Your heart trembled. In the cultivation world, an alchemist's status is exceedingly noble. Who practices cultivation without alchemy? How could such a big figure move to our rundown place? You asked, puzzled. Kai Laoju urged you. Stop the nonsense, he said. Hurry and prepare a gift for the meeting, he added. Let's go together to visit them, he suggested. Just get familiar, he said. After a moment, you arrived at the doorway. The one opening the door was a white-clothed youth in his 20s. He was a 5th-level chi refinement, far stronger than the two of you. You introduced yourselves. You offered your gifts. You presented 5 metal spiritual grains. Kai Laoju added an extra pot of wine. The white-clothed youth introduced himself as Su Yuqing. After receiving the gifts, he returned the favor, giving each of you a jade bottle. You opened yours and found a single breath returning pill. Its market price was 5 snack coins. You and Kai Laoju exchanged a glance. Both felt a burning heat on your faces. Their gift was more expensive than the two of yours combined. Heavy. I indeed am an alchemist, he said. Su Yuqing. After sitting down, his tone was flat, yet carried a hint of arrogance. He had recently broken through to the first-tier middle grade and was out here to unwind. A first-tier middle grade alchemy master. You and Kai Laoju hurriedly stood up. Quickly bowed in respect. My apologies, my apologies. We were presumptuous. Such a person is a distinguished guest wherever he goes. He is far beyond the reach of people like you. Master Su. He accepted the words calmly. He waved his hand and invited you to sit. At that moment, another person entered through the door. You turned around and saw. Your pupils suddenly contract. It was Long Dao friend. Master Su immediately rose to greet him. His attitude was noticeably more enthusiastic toward him than toward you. Long Dao friend was also very respectful. After exchanging greetings, he directly presented 2 jade cooperatives as a welcome gift in front of you. First tier mid-stage beast inner core and Schwanling herb. Master Su finally showed a genuine smile. He then produced a delicate jade bottle and handed it over. The Gathering Spirit Pill, 2 pieces. Effective even for late-stage cultivators. Afterwards, Master Su and Long Dao friend engaged in enthusiastic conversation. Talking from alchemy to cultivation. They felt they had met too late. From start to finish, they completely ignored you and Kai Laoju. You both resembled 2 awkward statues. Neither sitting nor standing felt right. After half a quarter hour, you and Kai Laoju slipped away, bidding farewell. Both of your faces turned extremely grim. You couldn't help but complain. That was too presumptuous. Why didn't you say earlier that he's a mid-rank alchemist? Kai Laoju wore a gloomy expression. How would I know there'd be another chance like this? Don't call me again, you said in a low voice. Your heart felt clogged. The seasons turned. Spring arrived again. Your 5 mu of forest field has already been turned over. You sowed the new season's spirit rice. That's right. This time you employed a certain beast sprout rice entry you kept in reserve. It felt like staking your entire fortune on a high-stakes gamble. The seeds in the entry were just the right amount. Just enough to plant a whole mu. All year, the air was thick with a whiff of gunpowder. All the spirit farmers on the hill seemed as if they'd been pumped full of adrenaline. Each one worked desperately, fearing that a slip would leave them trailing behind others. Du Haifu strolled around the hill. Watching this scene, he nodded in satisfaction. But time doesn't wait. 2 months flew by. You sat on the field ridge, gazing at the face of your field. It stretched longer than a donkey. The good news is that, thanks to your increasingly proficient ultimate spirit language, the absolute 4-eyed spirit rice is thriving. It even generated 3 new entries. One of them is the coveted accelerating attribute you've dreamed of. The other two are weak magical power. But the bad news is equally heartbreaking. The sliver of beast tooth power you placed great hopes in didn't even react. Not even a single hair sprouted. What exactly went wrong? You anxiously grabbed your hair. I clearly followed the heavy method the book described. I haven't skimped on the ultimate feather attribute either. This time it can't possibly be a total loss, can it? Another 2 months have passed. The first season's keen harvest is over. Your 1 mu of yummy rice field remains a solitary plot. You harvested between 73 and 80 jin of spirit rice. Stone. A green ripening attribute has appeared in the sea. And 2 white weak magical power attributes. But your ranking has already slipped beyond the top 200. After Du Haifu learned of this, he didn't scold you. Instead, he put on a solemn, earnest expression. He said, you'd be better off just buying a lot of spirit rice honestly. Why bother tinkering with yummy rice? Wasting snacks for nothing. That thing, not just you. Even the first-rank spirit plant masters in the sect. Hardly any succeed. Young man, don't aim too high. You listen, feeling irritated, but can only force a smile. You no longer worry about your ranking. Since you have the attribute in hand, you feel very confident. Yet this beastly riddle leaves you unsatisfied. Whether to use the soul ripening attribute or not. If it still doesn't grow, it would be a total loss. Finally, on a dead silent afternoon, you grit your teeth and face that barren patch of land, using up that precious ripening attribute, staring fixedly at the ground. A minute and a second pass by. Just as you're about to lose hope, a tender green shoot bursts through the soil, making your eyes flash with golden light, and the weight on your heart finally settles. Your whole body collapsed limp. Then, that tender green sprout grew wildly as if injected with hormones. It shot up to 2 inches tall before slowing to a stop. It seems the higher-tier spirit plants need more ripening tags. You now have a sense of it. This thing takes 3 years to mature. You can only wait for it slowly. First, farm the spirit-sensitive group for ripening tags. You looked at the sprout with eager anticipation, wanting to see what surprise this treasure might bring. The next second, 3 brilliant rays of light exploded. A high-grade spirit feather upgrades its quality once every 5 activations, ripening 5 times. You, excited, leapt straight up from the field ridge. The high-grade spirit feathers yield doubled. If this isn't taking off on the spot, what is? You feel the pent-up frustration of the past months disappear in an instant. 10 days later, Du Haifu stood dumbfounded in front of your spirit field. He kept rubbing his eyes. His expression was uglier than having eaten bitter herbs. He crouched down and examined carefully those rice seedlings with distinctive red veins. In the end, he had to admit, these are beast tooth rice. You actually grew them, kid. She looked at you with a complicated expression, like a twisted pretzel. She couldn't get a word out for ages. A few days later, you tucked the money you just earned in the wheat forest and went out again. Beast tooth rice is taken care of. Time to get something for self-defense. You know the truth in your heart. This broken world might someday force you to fight people. Spirit root aptitude is low. Cultivation is slow. You must have some means of protection. Your target, the Qingyang method, is still that Juxuan pavilion. Shopkeeper Liao. He smiled at you like a chrysanthemum. He immediately ushered you upstairs. A private room on the 4th floor. He invited us to drink and chat. And served spirit mist tea. You felt a little uneasy. In the past year, you haven't come here many times. Why is today's treatment suddenly upgraded? You entered the private room. You're still the same as always. You pulled 2 big bags of Sprite rice from your storage bag. The old rule. The shopkeeper handed you the 2 bags to weigh. Shopkeeper Liao smiled as he finished weighing. He handed you a money pouch. Sprite rice, about 21 to 22 jin. That's 70 coins worth of snacks. Fellow cultivator. You nod. You furrow your brow. Something feels off. This money is too much. Shopkeeper. What do you mean by that? Shopkeeper Liao pours you tea. He lowers his voice. The sensitivity of the method will raise the price. He says the Spirit Feather Sex campaign in the Yun's Great Wilderness discovered a complete 3rd-tier spirit vein. But that place is occupied by a barbaric tribe of several thousand people. The Spirit Feather sect suffered a huge loss. The losses were severe. They originally wanted to call for reinforcements. But the news leaked. It was hijacked by the people from Golden Cloud Valley. Both sides openly turned hostile. Even the teleportation array was taken. The supply lines were completely cut. So it's not just the spirit sensitivity. All cultivation resources have to rise. This conflict could be as short as 35 years. Or last for several decades. It shows no sign of calming down. Finally, he reminded you. He said a monster had broken through the defenses. Its whereabouts are unknown. Be extra careful when you go out lately. You lift your teacup and take a sip. But inside, turbulent waves rage. You know shopkeeper Liao has laid so much groundwork. It's time to get down to business. This old fox has such keen information. There must be something complex behind it. Cultivating a good relationship with him can't hurt. Thank you, shopkeeper, for the heads up. You set the teacup down. The shopkeeper has other matters. Apparently the shopkeeper chuckles. His gaze is full of meaning. Friend Xin Dao Yu, the true cultivator, never shows his face. So the target is slim elegant rice. When your slim elegant rice matures, could you sell a portion to my shop? The price is negotiable. Add an extra 10% on the trial batch. Your heart skips a beat. It's only been a few days. This old fox even knows about your cultivation of longevity sprout rice. You don't answer immediately. You only ask whether you can redeem it in 2 years. You don't dare guarantee. Leaving a fallback option. Shopkeeper Liao can only continue to play the emotional card. The opportunity arrives. Having pondered for a moment, he turns the conversation. He asks if your esteemed establishment has any body refining techniques to offer. Shopkeeper Liao instantly understands. He immediately pulled out several jade slips from his storage bag. 9-turn restorative technique. A top-tier method that leads straight to the foundation stage. 3,000 spirit stones. Nether King body tempering secret. High-level technique for 1,000 spirit stones. Diamond Forge Yuan technique. Mid-level for 500 spirit stones. Listening to him list the items like a menu, you felt your meager snacks were no better than paper. Until the Heavenly Doom Exchange crystal cost 80 spirit stones. You suddenly cut him off, asking him to explain in detail. Lao's face twitched. He said he had grabbed the wrong thing. This is a demonic cultivation technique. Practicing it would make you hunted by the entire world. You were speechless on the spot. Then you still sold it after an hour? You left Juxuan Pavilion empty-handed. Those techniques are either beyond your budget or would take decades to master. Pure nonsense. Nevertheless, Liao eventually pointed you toward a clear path. In the eastern district of Fang, there's the Ruan family. Their household has fallen into decline. Their ancestors left behind a body refining technique. Even offering 100 spirit stones didn't convince them to sell. The Ruan family insists on adding a blood-boosting elixir. Liao thinks it's not worth it. Maybe you could try your luck. Do you understand? Shopkeeper Liao. He's hinting that you use the future supply rights of Shoyami rice as a bargaining chip. Perhaps it could work as a return. You verbally agreed. Once the Shoyami rice matures, you'll sell it to him first. It's a win-win deal. You had just stepped out of the shop when you ran straight into a hurried pair from the Spirit Jade Gate Patrol. Their aura was bristling with killing intent. They were heading outward. I grabbed a bystander who was watching the scene and asked what was happening. The other said they were going to slay a demon beast, but the method was supposedly very safe. Even demon beasts at the foundation stage can't break the protective formation. Just don't run around. I left, deep in thought. Following the instructions, I found the Ruan household in the eastern district of Fang, but was turned away. A neighbor said the Ruan family had gone on a long trip. They won't return for 3 or 4 months. I could only give up helplessly. I returned to the shantytown. It was already night. My mind was elsewhere. I was cooking dinner. My thoughts were a chaotic mess about the safety of the method. But the protective formation in this shantytown couldn't cover it. A sudden knock at the door made me instantly alert. I opened the door. I was stunned. The visitor turned out to be that advanced cultivator, Lu Dao friend. He got straight to the point, saying, "I heard your Ling rice quality is excellent, and I'd like to buy some." I weighed my options in my mind. I smiled and said, "Most of it has already been sold." Long Dao friend frowned and asked how much was left. He wanted to purchase everything at market price. I decided to take a gamble. I probed. I heard the rice price in the method is going to rise by 50% soon. The cultivator was clearly taken aback. He began to reassess me. She had just learned this news from her own small circle. He was silent for a moment. He suddenly smiled and said, "Your information is very well informed. Then let's trade at the increased price." You nodded and sold it to him. 50 jin of inventory. You saw off Long Dao. You felt a wave of emotion. Even cultivators in the later stages of qi refinement have started stockpiling. Heaven truly is changing. You finished a lavish meal of spiritual rice. You sat cross-legged on a mat and began to circulate. In Changchun Palace's 10 Cs, there are still 2 weak mana entries left. It's today. Your mind flickered. One entry vanished instantly. The mana in your dantian surged like a breached dam. It raged against your meridians. When the mana accumulated to its peak, an invisible thin membrane burst in response. Third tier of the qi refinement stage. The mana fluctuations around you instantly rose a level. You often exhaled a puff of foul air, feeling the spiritual energy surge nearly double. How many years has it been? Finally, no longer imprisoned at the second tier of qi refinement, you suppressed the exhilaration in your heart. And you know well, this is only the beginning of qi refinement. The third tier remains a cannon fodder in the upcoming chaotic era. Still just cannon fodder. You must become faster and stronger. In the blink of an eye, another 3 months passed. In the second season spirit, only 2 weak mana entries contributed to you. Luck seems to have run out. But fortunately, after the breakthrough, mana increased greatly. Production output also surpassed 90. You no longer sold all the zero rice. Instead, you hoarded it. Within the Fang clan, rice prices have already surged by 60%. You pocket the spirit stone that just crossed the 150-unit threshold. You went to shopkeeper Liao and bought a talisman and a low-grade magic sword. You feel a greater sense of security. By the end of October, the autumn wind is bleak. The forest floor is carpeted with dead leaves. They conceal the path leading to the mountain summit. They also hide some ominous signs. In the third season, the Lingman has already formed ears of grain. In another month it will be a harvest. All the spirit-rich crops are like brood guarding hens. They stay in the fields day after day. Your scheme only generated a single weak magical power entry. The idea of quickly ripening the longevity ya rice completely fell apart. You can only watch the skinny ya rice helplessly. The few tempting magnetic strips in the forest field. You wait slowly. That day, you are in the field, wielding spirit feathers. Ultimate. Suddenly, a footstep echo comes from behind. A chill runs through you. You immediately sheath your spell technique. Turning around, a young cultivator in a white robe walks toward you. It turns out to be that Sultan Master. What do they want? Qin Daoyu. They get straight to the point. He says he heard you cultivated longevity ya rice. You quickly bow. You say it was merely a stroke of luck. No need to be formal. They wave their hand. I came for the half-life item of ya rice. Red spirit deer. You are completely bewildered. You've never even heard of this thing. The Sultan Master explains. It is a rare alchemical auxiliary material. Few people know about it. They circle your beast ya rice field once. They click their tongue in amazement. He said your cultivation of the mute rice is really impressive. Looks like you have a secret formula. You thought to yourself that the formula holds no secret. But there is one. He gently lifted the tip leaf of a rice seedling, signaling you to take a look. You leaned in. Sure enough, a drop of blood-red dew was hidden at the leaf's base. The item is harmless to the spiritual mushroom. It happens to be useful for my alchemy. Sultan Master took out a jade bottle. May I collect 10 spiritual stones? Sultan Master chuckled. Please feel free to take them. Even if you can't take his money. Maintain a good relationship with the alchemist. It's a guaranteed profit. Then I won't be polite. Sultan Master was about to act. Suddenly, the surrounding forest rustled and shook wildly. It seemed as if 10,000 troops were racing through the woods, heading straight toward you. Sultan Master's movements halted. His complexion slightly changed. What's happening? Your heart skipped a beat. You instinctively clenched the newly bought golden light talisman. Other linglongs on the mountain also sensed the anomaly. They all halted their work in the end. A shrill scream ripped the mountain's tranquility. Dozens of monkeys covered in strange black fur bolted out of the forest like madmen. A few of them had auras that had astonishingly reached the first stage. Mid-stage is not good, it's a sealed roar. Sultan Master let out a gasp. He slapped his storage bag. A set of formation banners instantly emitted a pale blue light that enveloped her. He spoke at a rapid pace, shouting at you. The golden sigil is useless. Come in quickly. You didn't hesitate at all. You plunged straight into the light. In an instant, the outside shrieks were cut off. Your mind still reeling. You looked outward. You saw those monkeys emitting wave after wave of sound from their mouths. Linglong, struck, instantly had her eyes turn blood red. She looked delirious. She began frantically attacking the people around her. The spirit field instantly descended into chaos. A chi refining cultivator. A mid-stage cultivator just tried to flee, but was swept by the sound wave. Letting out a scream, they fell from midair. A massive, crazed monkey lunged forward. It dealt a crushing bite to him. He died on the spot. A sharp laugh seemed ready to pierce your eardrums. You watched the scene. Your scalp tingled with numbness. Your heart hammered. Your first thought was to run. But you suddenly halted. You knew clearly that leaving Sudan Master's formation now would end up the same as that person just now. You glanced back at Sudan Master. Though his complexion was grim, he remained fairly composed. Don't panic. My formation can hold for a while, he said in a deep voice. People from the Lingyu Gate will arrive soon. As soon as he finished speaking, 7 or 8 Feng Hao monkeys unexpectedly changed direction and surged forward in a surrounding attack, pouncing on you all fiercely. Leading them was the very Monkey King who had been at the front earlier. Sultan's expression also changed. Watching those beasts about to charge into the beast-tooth rice field, your eyes reddened. You immediately slapped your storage bag, your gaze flashing with a hint of ferocity, and a small copper bell appeared in your hand. You swiftly grasped the bell, and it instantly grew larger, suspended in midair. It was the beast driving technique. You grinned at the group of monkeys, showing a set of white teeth. You're challenging me on volume, huh? Fine then. Let's see who's louder. A deafening blast erupted from the copper bell in your hand, shaking the forest. The sound was ear-splitting. A relentless roar. Just the sheer magnitude was terrifying. You stood at the center. Countless waves of sound rolled outward like tide after tide, instantly drowning out the shrill cries of the sealed monkeys. The monkeys' bizarre sound waves were shattered on the spot. The red glints in the surrounding Linglong eyes gradually faded. One by one they regained consciousness. The lower-ranked monkeys were terrified, scrambling in panic, fleeing in all directions. Those few monkeys that had intended to attack the formation closest to your copper bell, their fur turned black from the shockwave, shivering in fear. But the mid-level Monkey King only froze for a few breaths. Its ferocious aura flared up again, letting out a high-pitched scream, trying to rally the frightened monkeys again. Clearly, he saw through. Your move is all thunder and no rain. The raindrops are tiny. And it looks scary. In reality, it caused no substantial damage. All show, no use. You even got startled enough to jump. Just like that. 1/5 of your internal mana was instantly drained. But that move did affect the monkey troops. You finally felt a bit steadier inside. Chin the dragon cultivator actually used the beast subduing technique. The Sultan clan behind you was shocked. Their gaze toward you changed, as if they got to know you anew. You replied offhand, saying the move is hit or miss, which made the Sultan clan laugh. But they didn't have time for that. Chin the dragon cultivator. Watch out, they might come back again. Hearing the warning, you immediately rallied your spirit and quickly channeled your mana. Another beast driving spell blasted outward. After half a cup of tea, finally, a flash of evasion streaked across the sky, cutting across a massive magical vessel, and instantly hovered over your spirit field. You fixed your gaze. It was from the Lingyu sect. Gug arrived with outer disciples to provide support. It was fairly timely. You let out a long sigh of relief. Just a moment ago, you had already exhausted all 5 entries of the beast driving spell. Your complexion turned pale. Your dantian was completely empty. If it weren't for your Changchun mana being double that of others, had they arrived even a step later, you would have truly run out of oil and flame. Even the weakest mana entries would have to be used to sustain your life. This beast's ambush happened far too quickly. It lasted less than half a quarter hour. Combined with that bizarre sonic attack, it caught everyone off guard. Gug's lungs were nearly blown away. Lin Tian suffered such heavy losses. As a supervisor, he'll definitely be punished within the gate. He merely snapped his fingers, and a crimson flying sword shot out of his hand. A streak of red light flashed. The sword instantly pierced the leading Monkey King. The air fell silent in an instant. The Monkey King split open from head to toe. A gush of blood, was grievously wounded by the sword, and fell dead on the spot. Qi cultivation reached perfection, terrifying as it was. You stared at Gug, stunned by his thunderous method. Your eyes went blank in amazement. For the Raingate folk, once this happened, it was considered over. The remaining monkeys were quickly wiped out. After clearing the scene, Gug boarded the lawship. Before departing, he turned back and asked, "Who just used the beast-driving mantra?" You hesitated, not wanting to draw too much attention. Master Sudan stepped forward before you. He said it was Chin, a fellow cultivator. This time, it was thanks to him. Gug squinted and examined you a few times. Then he coldly ordered Du Haifu to credit the spirit maiden who sold the heavy mute rice for him for this quarter's spirit sensitivity tax. Jian Yi Cheng. Du Haifu's expression was uglier than having eaten bitter Wanglian. But he still hurriedly bowed and nodded. Jian Yi Cheng naturally claimed the commission as his share. Then Master Gug solemnly said to Master Sudan, "The matter we discussed earlier still stands." Master Su replied that he was used to being idle. He doesn't like being constrained. Let's discuss this later. Gug led his disciples and set off by boat. You breathed a sigh of relief. You looked around. The hillside was a mess. Only your forest field and a few others were spared. Several fields lost more than half. On the mountain, a dozen or so linglongs met an unfortunate fate. Most were caused by loss of control due to sound wave effects. Seeing those corpses lying in pools of blood, a feeling you couldn't describe welled up inside you. Everyone is a low-rank cultivator of the righteous path. Suffering miserably. Toiling hard. Only to be unable to withstand an accident in the end. If it weren't for Master Su, I would have met the same fate as them today. You felt a secret relief. You suddenly remembered Kai Laoju. Master Su walked over. He handed you a bottle of Riki pill. He said it was thanks to him this time. If you hadn't broken the sound wave with the beast driving technique, we both might have perished today. You were stunned for a moment. You didn't refuse. You took it and looked inside. There were a full 5 pills inside. You swallowed one. You sat in place to meditate. After adjusting your breath for a moment, your pale face finally regained a hint of color. You stood up and greeted Master Su. You said you'd first go check on Kai Laoju. But just as you were halfway, you ran straight into him. He was covered in dust and grime. He had colorful decorations hanging on him. He leans on a tree branch. He limps and staggers upward. He looks utterly miserable. When he looks up and sees you acting as if nothing's wrong, he is instantly thrown off balance. He can't accept it at all. He says he doesn't know which bastard got possessed by the monkey's evil. He actually jabbed a hoe into your lower back. Don't let him know who did it. You see that he only has superficial skin injuries. You feel relieved. You reply, "It's good that you're okay." As a result, Kai Laoju becomes even more indignant. He presses, asking why you're completely unharmed. Did those monkeys happen to be your relatives who couldn't bring themselves to hurt you? You are at a loss for words. You have to explain. You say it was a coincidence. You ran into Sultan Master. If it weren't for him, you'd probably be burning paper for me now. What Sultan Master? Why would he go to your spirit field? Kai Laoju looks puzzled. You briefly explain that Sultan Master came to request a red spirit deer. You also mention the matter of shoyu rice. You actually cultivated shoyu rice. Kai Laoju is flabbergasted. He feels his worldview has been refreshed again. He's been trying here for over a decade, failing countless times. He once doubted the spirit veins here. Until he followed you to the back of the mountain. He saw with his own eyes that half-human high shoyu rice. He is at a total loss for words. He is extremely bitter. This time he truly feels envy, jealousy, and hatred. Shin Ming. You kid aren't righteous. I even gave you wine to drink. You grew longevity rice and didn't even tell me a word. After complaining, he didn't forget to warmly greet Master Sultan. Then he leaned close to your ear and whispered, "Where did you get that longevity rice, Lord?" You calmly replied, "It was shopkeeper Liao." That purchase was basically a gamble with your life and fortune. Kai Laoju clicked his tongue in amazement, saying, "You really got some damn luck. That you actually managed to grow it." You just smiled, indicating that you'd wait until you're seasoned. You invited him to Ju Zhanje for a meal. Only then was he satisfied. 2 days later, the turmoil of the beast attack had passed. Although Lingyu Gate had added some protective measures, they were still just simple alarm formations. After this incident, your desire to strengthen yourself became unprecedentedly strong. Without a trump card, you feel insecure. Any moment could mean death or losing your path. So you returned to the Ruan family courtyard at Qingyangfeng Market. After knocking and opening the door, a gaunt-looking, middle-aged cultivator with half-white hair opened the door, getting straight to the point about his purpose. Ruan Dao Yu was startled for a moment, but he still ushered you inside. Upon entering the courtyard, all you saw was desolation. There was no one else besides him. He said, "Unless you have pills or spirit colors that boost chi and blood, you'll only be making a wasted trip." You nodded, then asked about this cultivation method. He sighed, pointing at the dilapidated courtyard, full of history. He said the Ruan family's great fortune is thanks to this method. He pulls a beast hide from his storage bag and shows it to you. This method is called the 100 Treasure Glass Essence. The prerequisites for cultivation are extremely stringent. It requires heavenly materials and earthly treasures that enhance chi and blood as assistants. As he continues his introduction, you gradually realize that this method is rather unorthodox. Its core is the blood exchange refining lock. It relies on ingesting various spirits that boost chi and blood. Only then, continuously replace blood and refine the marrow, until your chi and blood become like liquid mercury. Your flesh becomes as crystal clear as glass. When cultivated to a profound level, you can even condense a glassy treasure robe. Wearing it makes you invulnerable to all phenomena. You are secretly startled. But Ruan Dao's next words pour cold water on you. Investing spirit wealth is a bottomless pit. Moreover, this is only a fragmentary scroll. It only contains the first 9 layers. You ask him which layer he's currently cultivated to. His face is filled with bitterness. He has exhausted his family fortune, spending thousands of spirit stones over time. And now he's only at the 3rd layer. You inquire whether anyone in the family has reached the 5th layer. He says no. I am the highest among us. You instantly understand why he's so eager to sell it. After weighing the options, you decisively speak up. 100. Plus 10 jin of lean mute rice. What do I get for this method? You have lean mute rice. The shopkeeper's previously despondent gaze instantly brightens. He looks revitalized. He nonchalantly says you haven't mastered it yet. But growing it is just a matter of time. He immediately starts haggling. At least 20 caddies. You furrow your brow. Without a word, you turn and walk away. That's an outright lion's big demand. 20 caddies of slim tooth rice. The current market price is at least 100. He's treating you as a sucker. Seeing you actually leave, Ruan got anxious on the spot. He hurriedly stopped you, saying there's something to discuss. Don't rush off. After a final struggle, you still agreed to 100 spirit stones, plus 10 caddies of slim elegant rice. Sealing the deal as you said. You gave a faint smile. He asked again when the show yami will be delivered. You replied offhand. Roughly 2 more years. He thought for a moment and proposed a compromise. You pay 100 spirit stones first. He copies the first 5 layers of the technique to you. Once the rice matures, you will come back to claim the technique. Initially you simply nodded, then took out 100 spirit stones from your storage bag and handed them over. Outwardly calm and composed. But inside you felt blood dripping. This was all the wealth you had painstakingly saved. You gambled it all in one go. After the transaction succeeded, you lingered no longer. Taking the jade tablet, you left directly, returning to the shantytown, and resumed an ordinary farming life. You stare at the entries in the forest fields every day, calculating in your mind the next 2 years. As long as you can trigger another ripening entry, you plan to secretly transplant a small batch of beast mute rice to accelerate its maturation for cultivation. After all, the world is getting more chaotic. Just 2 short years. You can afford to wait. But fate waits for no one. You must seize destiny with your own hands. A month later, the final batch of spirit rice ripens. This time, the ancient steward and Du Haifu personally attend to supervise. Your sprite rice yield breaks records again, reaching 10 shi and another 90 jin. With a 10% tax exemption, after tax you net 320 jin. In 3 quarters, your overall ranking rockets into the top 10. When Du Haifu collects taxes, his attitude is worlds apart. He calls you little affection each time. Sweeter than honey. Then the ancient steward coldly announces the result. The bottom-ranked 30 cultivators board the ship and follow me. Even though monsters assault the Lingyu Gate, there is still no leniency. Those 30 Linglong look ashen. Soul lost, they board the ship. Watching them, you feel a swirl of emotions. Yet your gaze hardens. You pat the shoulder of old Kai 9 beside you, telling him not to watch. Let's go. Old Kai 9, horse, asks you, will there ever be a day when we become one of those 30? You freeze, unable to speak. But you know deep down, without a golden finger, that scene might just be your answer. It's brutally cruel. At the start of the new year, you planted Jinling rice early. A month later, in the 4 acres of spirit fields, the entry you've been dreaming of finally appeared. Accelerated ripening. And a faint magical power. Your heart surged with joy. When this season's spirit rice matures, you'll be able to harvest a batch of beast mute rice ahead of schedule. Day by day passed. You were either farming or cultivating. In your spare time, you wielded the newly bought Azure Spirit Sword, flipping it up and down. The image of the ancient execution always floated in your mind. That earth-shattering sword. The gap is still huge. Another 3 months flew by. Spirit matured sensitively. You successfully harvested the accelerated ripening and faint magical power entries, plus over 390 jin of spirit rice. Your spirit rice stock has already surpassed 700 jin. That evening, you took advantage of the night, secretly moved several hundred stalks of skinny mute rice, along with those 3 stalks bearing the entries, transplanting them into your small courtyard. Everything was ready. You didn't hesitate. You applied accelerated ripening to the 3 stalks of spirit fungus with entries. Under your tense gaze, the 3 skinny sprout rice grew wildly, then after half a day began to slow. They had already touched the rice ears. At this rate, they can be harvested by tomorrow morning. Early the next morning, you went to the courtyard. The 3 beast sprout rice were indeed fully mature. You carefully peeled open one grain. That grain looked like a beast's tooth. It was entirely snow white. Yet its interior glowed with a hint of bright red. It emitted a faint, fresh fragrance. You hurriedly harvested them. In an instant, 3 green magnetic strip leaves quietly manifested inside your corpse. The real start comes next. You restrained your excitement. You focused your attention on the several hundred ordinary beast tooth rice. You used up the freshly acquired ripening and quality-enhancing attribute tags. 2 hours later, during the frantic growth of these beast tooth rice, your luck surged again. Among them, 2 brand new magnetic strips were unexpectedly generated. Weak blood chi. You were shocked on the spot. This attribute tag is practically tailor-made for you. 7 days later, the lean elegant rice in the small courtyard had also fully ripened. You could no longer conceal your inner exhilaration. This is premium longevity elegant rice. Finally, it arrived. You looked at those 2 golden, weak blood chi attribute tags. You realized that your path of body refining could finally be officially opened. With excitement, in 3 strikes, 5 divided by 2, you swept the several hundred lean tooth rice clean. This round of operation directly yielded a full 6 jin for you. The premium lean tooth rice now had several blood red streaks on its surface. More importantly, its contained spiritual energy and blood chi effect are 3 times that of ordinary goods. Thus, over the next half month, you followed the pattern and saved some seeds. Then you smashed the remaining 4 ripening attribute tags from your corpse into it. In the end, you harvested a total of 30 jin of premium beast mute riddles, plus 4 weak blood chi attribute tags. You know in your heart that doing this is a bit wasteful. All ripening tags are used up. But you can't worry about that now. The urgent priority is to risk everything to boost your strength. You know that if you take these 30 jin out to sell, you can't tell how many would scramble for them. But you understand better the wisdom of keeping a low profile. Right now you're just a rookie. Being too flashy is courting death. That evening you boiled a pot of premium longevity sprout rice. The aroma could literally lure a person's soul away. You carried the pot and sat directly on the bed. Without hesitation, you opened the acupoint. In an instant, the pot of rice settled to the bottom. A torrent of scorching energy erupted within you. You immediately sat cross-legged. You activated the Baibao Liuli Sutra method. This cultivation method is quite gentle. Unlike others that are life or death intense. It simply makes your whole body feel warm, gradually heating and expanding. After the burn of one incense stick, your skin turned red like boiled shrimp. Zhou Shen. Even faint red mist began to emanate. This is a sign that a blood exchange is coming. You grit your teeth. Your intention in the sea of consciousness used up a weak blood mana entry. A larger surge of blood mana amplification flooded in like a tide. You feel as if you were thrown into a steamer. A layer of blood beads continuously oozes from your skin. Soon they form blood scabs, enveloping your whole body like a massive blood cocoon. Within the blood cocoon, red light pulses with your heartbeat. Flashing thump thump. After a full 2 hours, a crack appears on the blood cocoon. Soon more cracks spread. The entire blood cocoon begins to disintegrate and fall away. Breaking out of the cocoon, a brand new power of blood energy is born within you. At this moment, you officially step into the first layer of Baibao Liuli essence. You feel your entire organs and skeleton. Even your skin has been strengthened like never before. Your previously sun-tanned skin is now white and smooth. And an invisible, resilient membrane has formed over you. Ordinary swords and knives probably can't hurt you anymore. Excited, you rush into the courtyard. You throw a punch at the graphite under the tree, bang. Shards of stone fly everywhere. The whole piece of graphite under your fist crumbles directly into countless fragments, massive and powerful. You stare at your fist, ecstatic. This power is definitely far stronger than that of a typical level 1 body refining cultivator. No wonder that Soft Path would go bankrupt just to train it. It feels like you've found a shortcut. A day to overtake others. And so the days fly by, speeding through farming and cultivation. As long as a ripening entry spawns in the Stone Sea, you don't hesitate. With a constant stream of resources to stack hard, your body refining progress is literally 1,000 miles a day. 6 months later, relying on massive premium beast ya rice and faint blood chi entries, you stubbornly piled the 100 treasure glazed gold up to the 3rd layer. If companion Ruan found out about this, he'd probably be so frustrated he'd vomit blood on the spot. You finally understand. Beast ya rice meshes perfectly with the cultivation method. But the method says the first 5 layers are just laying the foundation. The real transformation comes when you break through to the 5th layer, condensing the glazed treasure. At that point, it's no longer ordinary body refining, it's comparable. A strong flow of blood and chi will greatly benefit your future push toward the foundation building stage. In the cultivation world, to reach foundation building, Besides achieving complete chi circulation before age 60, you also have to pass 3 major trials. Blood chi observation, magical power, spirit consciousness observation. The path you're walking now perfectly solves the first trial. In the past 6 months, an unexpected event occurred. Sultan Master, that proud alchemist, actually visited me proactively twice. Having not seen each other for half a year, he has already broken through to the 6th layer of chi refinement. I couldn't help but be envious. Alchemists level up so quickly. Each time he comes, he asks me to buy some everyday mana-infused food. After a few exchanges, we've become familiar with each other. I used 100 jin of spirit rice to trade for 2 spirit gathering pills that boost mana. He readily agreed. That day, Sultan Master came again. I specially prepared wine and dishes, and even splurged on some beast meat. These recent rice sales filled my once empty pockets again with over 200 snacks. After several interactions, I discovered that Sultan Master, though proud at his core, is actually quite easy to get along with. After 3 rounds of drinks, Sultan Master set his cup down and stated his purpose directly. He is preparing to forge a certain pill, which requires a large amount of heroic spirit flowers, and he wants me to help cultivate them. Immediately, I picture a spirit resin resembling an orchid grass. First-tier spirit plants take a year to mature. I recall this is used to brew first-tier premium pills as a supplementary material for the bone cleansing pill. The bone cleansing pill, which is a precious treasure for breaking through the later stages of chi refinement. It's valuable but has no market. It instantly clicked for me. He's aiming to become a top-grade alchemist. But a new question immediately arose. Why didn't he ask the spirit plant masters at the Spirit Jade Gate, instead turning to me, a wandering cultivator, for help? He explained that he's used to a leisurely life. He dislikes sect constraints. If he approached them, it would inevitably get tangled. You nod. But you deliberately show a troubled expression. You say you've never obtained a first-tier spirit fat, so it might be difficult. The Sudan master watches with a half-smile. He can even grow miniature beast teeth. A mere cherry-named flower is no problem at all. After I provide the seeds successfully, I'll buy each plant for 5 snack units. Your heart jumps sharply. 5 snacks per plant. That's a hefty sum. After a moment of contemplation, you say, I also have an unreasonable request. Since the bright flower can be cultivated, once it matures, any leftovers will go to him. But you want to learn a couple of alchemy techniques from the Sudan master. A huge opportunity lies before you. Not seizing it would be foolish. The Sudan master pauses. Then he chuckles and says, So you've been waiting for him here all along. But alchemy burns money and depends on talent. Not everyone can learn it. Upon hearing that, your heart instantly blossoms with joy. You know there's a chance. This time it's the bright flower. Next time it could be something else. As long as you make a connection, you can gradually draw out his inner fire. The Sudan master thinks for a moment and says, I plan to stay here another 3 years. All right then. You grow spirit herbs for me for 3 years. I'll trade you some alchemy insights for the deal. You smile with delight. Master Sultan then takes out a jade tablet and hands it to you. This is a basic alchemy text. Take a look at it first. It contains some of my early notes. You take the jade tablet. Your spirit sense scans it, and you are instantly thrilled. What basic study is this? Clearly it's Sultan's. His own study notes. Even annotated with insight values. Even just this book alone, it's a generous gift to him. And by the end of the 3rd year you'll profit handsomely. At that moment, a knock sounded at the door. You get up to open it. Standing outside is Long Dao friend. You greet him warmly. Please come in and have something to eat. Long Dao friend. He initially wanted to decline, but upon seeing Master Sultan sitting inside, his heart skips a beat. He watches the dishes on the table attentively. 09's lean pork. He can't finish this meal without at least 5 snacks. Clearly, he formed a new judgment about your relationship with Master Sultan. He hurriedly bought 80 jin of ling rice and paid 20 pieces of snack. After a few pleasantries, he took his leave. You see him off and return to the table. Sultan jokes that you recently sold something and made a huge profit. You modestly reply, "It's just barely getting by. I can't match you after a satisfying meal and drink." Master Sultan leaves behind a packet of Yingning flower seeds and tells you they will lease another plot of land near the Lin field, so you can go there a few days later. You take a sign, hoist a hoe, and head to the Lin field. After cramming a few days of spirit plant manuals, you discover that the Yingning flower's hardest part is receiving blessings. When it blooms, it requires a wind control spell, and it must be done within its 7-day flowering period. You must perform specialized spells to pollinate it more than 7 times. That really stumped you. You can't possibly go and pollinate the flowers yourself, can you? You mutter with a headache. Sigh. First get it, then we'll talk. Since reaching level 3 body refinement, your strength has surged. Turning the soil feels like play. You quickly finish 3 acres. You unleash the ultimate spirit feather technique. Watching the moist earth, you calculate that if it really doesn't work, you'll have to resort to your ripening trick. After the cultivation, you're in high spirits. You plan to go to the Juxuan Pavilion to sell some rice, and also inquire about the wind control spell. Shopkeeper Liao, upon seeing you, remains enthusiastic. You don't waste any words and pull out 3 large bags of rice, a full 380 jin, exchanging them for 120 snacks. You casually ask about the price and procurement method for spirit rice. Shopkeeper Liao lowers his voice and says, "The spirit rice is still as responsive as ever. However, the fortune prosperity artifacts and elixirs have lately been lingering at the rain gate, being used to pioneer the front lines, with heavy casualties. And they're recruiting wandering cultivators again." Your heart sinks. You ask again whether there's a spell line for the Imperial Bee Swarm. There's the Beast Taming Manual and the Pest Control spell. Controlling Spiritual Essence, any one costs 300. Liao enthusiastically recommended. You You curled your lips. You said, never mind. He wants to squeeze dry all the snacks you just got. You only have a little over 300 coins in your pocket now. So you turn to ask about the mid-grade attack Fulu. Mid-grade Thunder Sword Talisman, 100 coins each. You gritted your teeth. You still bought one. This could be a lifesaver. In the evening, you returned to the slum district. Dinner, as usual, was a pot of premium beast rice. After eating, you began cultivating. You discovered that the Baibao glass spirit requires increasingly more resources over time. It's basically a bottomless pit. Just finished work. Outside the door, a rapid series of knocks suddenly sounded. Through the crack, you saw Kai Laoju. He was drenched in sweat. He looked like the sky was falling. You opened the door and asked him what was wrong. Kai Laoju stammered. His voice trembled. He said something serious. Long has fallen. Your head buzzed. A blank void. How could this be? Long, a cultivator of chi refinement. Later, you couldn't believe it at all. Kai Laoju said he was killed by a rogue cultivator. The corpse was right beside. In the river channel. Just discovered. He told you to go quickly and take a look. Your heart raced. You followed him, rushing furiously. The incident site was only a few hundred zhang away from your residence. A large crowd had already gathered by the riverbank. Everyone wore looks of terror. You squeezed into the crowd. At a glance, you saw the corpse in the river. It really was Long Dao friend. His entire body had been stripped clean. His storage bag had vanished. There were multiple weapon-inflicted wounds on his body. He had unfortunately passed away. I heard he was killed last night. The corpse was stuck in a bridge arch. It only just emerged now. People around were murmuring. Everyone was guessing. What cultivation level could the rogue cultivator who silently killed Long Dao friend possibly possess? Soon, the Lingyu Gate patrol team arrived at the scene. They dispersed the crowd. But the commanding officer, upon seeing the corpse, also wore a solemn expression. You returned to your room in a daze. A chill ran down your back. The danger was shockingly close to you. The slum area is no longer safe. You immediately realized you must find a way to move into a proper room. You can no longer delay. Long Dao is intriguing. The petty thugs here will likely run rampant immediately. The murderer was too lazy to even handle the corpse. He just tossed the body openly into the river. You tightly clenched that medium-grade Thundersword talisman inside your sleeve. Only then did you feel a faint sense of safety, which was insufficient. You must quickly strengthen your power. You know your resources are running low. You are well aware. After the 100 treasure glazed essence reaches the 3rd tier, the effect of premium longevity sprout rice has already begun to wane. You need higher quality spiritual agility. But quality enhancement, this attribute hasn't appeared in 6 months. You ponder up to this point. A flash of resolute determination crossed your eyes. You decide to use the last ripening entry on those 3 acres of Yingming flowers. You gamble on this one bet, hoping it will generate a quality increase entry for you. Long Dao Fellow's death feels like a lingering gloom weighing on your heart. and also bearing down on the entire shantytown. For several days the alleys have been dead still. Every household keeps its doors tightly shut. At night, no one dares to go out. Even if the rain gate intensifies patrols, you only dare to move in groups. But having said that, these past few days the forest fields have actually become the safest place. Because Gug personally leads the patrol. His massive spellcraft vessel hovers over the forest fields for half a day every 3 days. This gives you considerable peace of mind. It seems the spirit rain gate also doesn't want to show any difference in supply. In your 3 acres of Sakura condensed flower field, you already used up the ripening entry. 2 days later, when you see the emerald seedlings breaking through the soil, your heart rose to your throat. Immediately after, you saw 3 dazzling golden entries. You almost shouted on the spot. Wind Master technique ripened 5 times. Bloodline reversion once. You stare at those lines of text, rubbing your eyes to make sure you didn't misread. Ecstatic beyond measure. Now that's what luck is called. You can no longer hold back and burst into loud laughter in the empty forest fields. The Wind Master technique can guide Lingfeng to pollinate spirit plants, while bloodline reversion evolves spirit value into its previous generation form. No quality increase entry appeared, but a far more explosive thing showed up. You immediately pull out that spirit value artifact paper. I flip quickly to the longevity rice page. The book writes it clearly. The ancestor of longevity sprout rice is a first-tier premium spirit fat. Blood yellow rice. Just 1 thread away from becoming a second-tier formidable entity. Consuming it can greatly boost a cultivator's chi and blood. Those whose chi and blood have not yet solidified should use it with caution. This thing is not only the dream partner of body refining cultivators. It is also a holy item for blood path techniques. It is said to have long been a legendary skill in the cultivation world. Moreover, its growing conditions are harsher than those of beast tooth rice. It requires demonic beast essence blood to irrigate its spirit energy. And you must also meet its full maturation period. Typically 10 years. I stare intently at the bloodline reversion entry. Only one thought fills my mind. Sultan, you really are my living Buddha. But right now I lack the accelerated ripening entry. I can only wait for the next season's spirit rice. 3 months fly by. I keep yearning like a child looking at the stars and moon. Finally, another accelerated ripening entry appears in my spirit rice field. All is set. Only missing is where to get demonic beast essence blood. I pace back and forth in the hut. Go hunt demonic beasts myself. Impossible, absolutely impossible. I can't risk even a little. Spending money is still the safest. 2 days later, I grit my teeth at the meat shop in Qingyangfang Market. I spent 150 coins on snacks. Bought 10 jin of first-tier demonic beast essence blood. That should be enough, right? I return to the courtyard. First, I use the accelerated ripening entry I gained from the spirit rice field to accelerate the 3 spirit flower plants that have the entry. Instantly, 3 leaves appear in my sea of awareness. 2 green, 1 blue. They can cause the Lingzi to revert to its ancestral form. No wonder it's a blue tag. You silently admire. To ensure nothing goes wrong, you make another trip to Zan Pavilion. You spent over 100 spirit stones at shopkeeper Lau's counter and bought a set of small concealment formations. This time, you're not only going all in on snacks, but also going all in on tags. You're even ready to use the high-grade spirit language technique hidden at the bottom of the box. Everything is ready. You first ripen that batch of premium beast sprout rice. When the rice seedlings just begin to sprout, you immediately apply the bloodline reversion tag to them. In an instant, the Lingzi scene before you transforms dramatically. Hundreds of bizarre crimson plants grow wildly, replacing the original rice seedlings. A golden shining tag then appears. The rice leaves of the abundant blood-rich beast tooth rice all wither. They are replaced by a bamboo segment-like texture. Red spirit feathers with a blood-like quality sprout on them. You, in one breath, fling the ripening tag at them. No wonder they're first-tier premium spirit plants. They forced you to use 3 ripening tags in succession. Only then did you manage to ripen this batch of blood yellow rice to the 10-year stage. Then you consume a high-grade spirit feather technique. Combining it with monster essence blood, you begin the irrigation spell. Your internal mana is instantly drained by more than half. Sure enough, this isn't something a novice cultivator can handle. You grit your teeth and consecutively use 2 weak mana tags to sustain yourself. A vortex of dark clouds forms within the hidden formation above your head, appearing out of nowhere. Lightning flashes and thunder roars. Fortunately, the formation masks it. Otherwise, the commotion would be too loud. You breathe a sigh of relief. Feel confident and boldly cast blood yellow rice. Upon contact with the essence blood spirit, it eerily writhes like a living thing, frenziedly absorbing the blood-colored exterior of the grains. The mist thickens increasingly under the domineering effect of the advanced spirit feather technique. The surrounding spiritual energy is instantly drawn out and turned into nourishment. New fragments sprout from the branches of the blood yellow rice. You don't waste the opportunity. Firmly memorize the casting sensation of the advanced spirit feather technique. Half a month later, you barely close your eyes. At last the blood yellow rice fully matures, and your entry has been drained down to only a faint wind-riding pulse of weak vitality. 2 abundant streams of vitality, 1. You carefully harvest the remaining spirit. Then clean all traces from the courtyard. This thing must never be known to anyone else. Having done all this, you look at the pile of crimson red spirit beads in your storage bag. Your heart pounds with excitement. You lick your lips. A suppressed smile spreads across your face. Come. Let me taste what this legendary blood yellow rice actually tastes like. You eagerly lift a bowl of the rice. You scoop a spoonful and bring it to your mouth. A massive surge of vital energy erupts, like a volcanic eruption, rushing straight to the crown of your head. Even though you were prepared, you almost got knocked out by the force. You immediately activate the 100 treasure glazed essence, frenziedly transporting vital energy. Bone marrow refinement for blood exchange. In an instant, a dense blood mist rises around your whole body. It feels like insects crawling under your skin. An unbearable itch. You feel your blood boiling. The vital energy is repeatedly compressed and refined, gradually becoming viscous. You gulp down the remaining rice in one breath. Your entire vital energy is pushed to its peak instantly. You abruptly open your eyes. The scab layers formed by the blood exchange on your skin peel off layer by layer. The 100 treasure glass breakthrough reaches the 4th layer. You feel exhilarated. Finally, the 4th layer corresponds to the mid-stage of body refinement. In just one short year, you undergo a complete transformation. Even you find it unbelievable. The 4th layer isn't enough. You clench your fists. You must quickly surge to the 5th layer. In the days ahead, you become a total homebody. Except for going to the forest fields to handle things. You spend the rest of the time intensely training 100 treasure glass essence. With the aid of blood yellow rice, your progress leaps 1,000 miles each day. Time flies. Another half-year passes. Inside the room, you close your eyes tightly. Your internal chi and blood have become as viscous as thick paste, reaching an unprecedented height. Only a final step stands between you and breaking through the 5th layer. You no longer hesitate. You directly consume that golden, abundant chi blood entry. In an instant, your vision goes black. It feels like an endless ocean. From the top of your head downwards, pressing you to the point of near suffocation. The chi blood boost from that entry is no less than a bowl of blood yellow rice. A massive roar of rushing blood echoes in your ears. Temporary inner chamber. Your inner body seems to turn into an endless sea of blood. Viscous like thick paste. Suddenly, a towering wave rises from the depths of the blood sea, instantly engulfing your consciousness. Your mind erupts with a blast. The power of your internal chi and blood transforms once more, furiously strengthening your flesh and bones. Immediately, a layer of glass-like radiant light surfaces beneath your skin, like a close-fitting robe, covering every inch of your skin. Glass treasure garment. The moment the garment solidifies, it means you have officially entered the 5th tier of body refinement of the 100 treasures glass spirit, completing a qualitative transformation. Your current strength far surpasses others of the same tier. You casually pick up the Azure Spirit Sword. You slash forcefully across your own arm, leaving only a white scar on the skin, which then disappears as if it never existed. The magical artifact can no longer harm you. You feel great joy. An unprecedented sense of safety wells up inside you. More importantly, this glassy treasure can also resist spells. The 5th tier is this powerful. So everything the book said turns out to be true. The first 5 tiers are secured. You must quickly obtain the remaining 4 tiers of techniques from the soft Taoist alley. You are filled with even stronger anticipation for what lies ahead. After a quick wash, you suppress all the blood chi within you. Externally, you still appear as the ordinary, slightly dark-skinned Linglong. But your overall spirit, energy, and demeanor have become completely different. Your gaze is restrained yet sharp. Now you finally have some self-preservation power in this chaotic world. This should count as my first trump card for coming here. It's really not easy. The tense nerves tightened by Jia's footwork have finally relaxed a bit. There are still 2 months left. Your 1 mu of shoyu rice is about to mature. Then it will not only secure future work, but also promote you to a first-tier low-grade spirit plant specialist, enjoying a halved tax burden. Your status and income will greatly increase. However, promotion still requires passing the spiritual value knowledge exam. This is something you must secure. Once I have the spirit plantist title, handling affairs becomes much easier, but my body refining progress stalls for now. I started binge studying spirit plant knowledge. And I also began learning alchemy. I even bought a small alchemy furnace from shopkeeper Liao. I tried brewing a few batches of basic elixirs. They all turned out as a single batch of charcoal. Reality mercilessly slapped me. Seems no one is guiding me. Just reading books isn't enough. I sighed helplessly at this wasteful batch. I can only hope that the enlightened Hua will mature. Sultan Master might give me a few pointers. 2 months later, I stood under a large tree near the forest fields, gazing up at a pot-lid-sized, earth-colored beehive. Thousands of snow-white bees swirled around the hive. These are the reckless twin-winged poisonous stingers unique to the cloud wasteland. They can briefly numb a cultivator's reflexes. Of course, I no longer take them seriously now. I'm only searching for the Wind Queen to prepare to cast the wind control technique. I found you. My eyes lit up. I formed the hand seal and struck at the lower right corner of the hive. The wind control technique in my sea of cognition instantly activated the deep part of the nest. A queen bee 5 times larger than a normal bee shivered violently. Its eyes showed a hint of bewilderment. It was bound. I clearly felt a connection forming between me and the queen bee. I immediately issued a command. The next second, the entire nest of twin peak bees poured out. A black, oppressive mass surged, rushing straight toward my 3 mu infant condensing flower field. The effect was astonishing. Sure enough, it worked. I was overjoyed beyond expectation. You immediately order the bee swarm to be obstructed. Very quickly, the 3-acre cherry song flower field is filled with busy twin peak bees. You nod in satisfaction. Master Sudan originally required only a 10% survival rate. But you pushed the survival rate up to 90%. When the 7-day pollination period ends, the quality will certainly be no worse than over 300 cherry ning flowers. At 5 spirit stones per plant, that's still a massive gain of over 1,000 spirit stones. You think it's time to shift toward spiritual herbs and medicines. 7 days later, because the spirit flowers emit a strong, fragrant aroma, they can be harvested. You send a transmission talisman to Master Sudan. In a short while, he walks over, carrying a small bamboo basket at an unhurried pace. But when he sees the 3 acres of blooming cherry ming flowers, the composure on his face vanishes instantly. His expression becomes extremely animated. All of this was planted by you. He points at the forest field, his gaze at you full of disbelief. You chuckle. You just say it was pure luck. Master Sudan shoots you a glare. He says you're just fooling the spirits. There's no such cunning trick. Speaking so, he carefully plucks a single plant, examines it closely, nods, and declares its quality superb, suitable for medicinal use. Then he surveys it again from top to bottom, and says slowly, I truly didn't realize fellow disciple Qin Dao Yu's spirit plant talent was this high. To be a refined talent here, it would be a waste of your talent. You give a wry smile and wave your hand. You say it's just good luck. So many infant ning flowers on these trees. I owe you a considerable favor. Master Sudan thinks for a moment, and finally says, I don't like owing favors. So that when I brew alchemy in the future, I'll allow you to observe from the side. I won't teach you hand by hand. How much you can learn all depends on how you handle it yourself. You feel an instant surge of joy upon hearing this. I've been working hard all year. Isn't this exactly what I've been waiting for? You still can't forget the feeling of those 2 spirit gathering pills. You even dream of crafting them yourself. Then I will politely decline. You immediately clasp your hands and thank. The 2 of you begin harvesting. A total of 320 plants. As promised. After counting, the Sultan Master gives you 32 plants, a 9-to-1 split. He also reminds you to place them in the jade box. Otherwise their medicinal properties will dissipate. You carefully take them. Store them properly. Sultan Master takes his leave. He says he'll notify you when he brews. You don't rush to leave. Instead, you return those Twin Peaks plants to their original spot. You think that these little ones will be useful for planting spirit herbs later. Someday you'll buy a spirit beast bag and harvest them again. 2 days later, the spirit rice matures. Wu Ji, as usual, comes to collect your 1 mu of shou ya rice. Naturally becomes the center of attention. The harvest and weighing finish quickly. Du Haifu shouts loudly at you. Spirit rice, 120 to 180 jin. Lean pressed rice, 40 to 10 jin. Count after processing. She smiles brightly and moves close to you. Her attitude makes a 180-degree turn. Congratulations, Xin Daoyu. Shou Ya Rice Planting Project. From now on, taxes will be halved across the board. You feel a bit unaccustomed at first. This guy used to call you stingy. You politely replied. Please, Supervisor Du, continue to look after me in the future. Du Haifu handed you another wooden plaque. He said it was an identification card for the Lingzi Master Assessment. You can complete the assessment at any time via the method. Congratulations in advance, Qin Daoyu, for entering the ranks of first-tier spiritual value masters. After paying the taxes, you still have over 600 jin of elf rice and 210 jin of lean yummy rice left. Another sizable income. Xiao Qing had already agreed. Kai Lao Ju's mouth watered with envy. He squeezed over, winking. He should invite me to Zan Pavilion for a feast. You are in high spirits. You smile and nod. Since you're invited, you also need to go to shopkeeper Lao's place to sell. You also make a stop at the Ruan household and obtain the last 4 layers of the 100 treasure glazed gold. Qingyang method. Juxuan Pavilion private room. You ordered a table full of fine wine, fine dishes and Kai Lao's wine. Feasting heartily. Shopkeeper Liao sat nearby with a smiling face, keeping the drinks company. His mind was calculating rapidly. He knows very well. Your longevity yummy rice is today's main dish. After 3 rounds of drinks, Shopkeeper Liao rubbed his hands. Finally unable to hold back, he spoke. Xing Daoyu. That beast tooth rice. You tipped your head and downed a cup of wine. Only then, unhurriedly, he took out spirit rice. Elf rice, over 500 jin. Lean tooth rice, 100 jin, all here. Shopkeeper Lao's eyes lit up instantly. He almost ignored the spirit essence. His gaze fell entirely on that bag of beast tooth rice. He pulled out a few grains and examined them carefully. Excitement grew increasingly evident on his face. Companion Chin. Your lean beast tooth rice is of excellent quality. It's almost boutique grade. If we handle this batch well, the profit could multiply several times. More importantly, building a good relationship with you is like securing an exclusive channel. Thinking that, Shopkeeper Liao made up his mind. Companion Chin. I'll take charge of this batch of lean beast tooth rice. 20% above market price. Charge 6 units of snacks per jin. What do you think? You didn't agree immediately. Seeing this, Shopkeeper Liao quickly took a jade token from his storage bag and solemnly handed it to you. This is the discount card of Juxuan Pavilion. From now on, you get a flat 20% discount at any branch. You took the jade token and looked it over. Only then did you nod and seal the deal. Shopkeeper Liao was overjoyed. He immediately weighed and tallied the account. Spirit rice, 510 jin. 170 units of snacks. Lean beast tooth rice, 105 gold. 630 units of snacks. Total, 800 units. Low-grade spirit stones. One-time entry of 800 snacks. Your back instantly stiffened, giving you much more confidence. Old Kaiju stared in disbelief. After the transaction was completed, you casually said, "Nothing much going on in Fang City lately, right?" Shopkeeper Liao whispered. The usual. The Lingyu sect's teleportation array is still under urgent repair. It probably won't be fixed anytime soon. You nodded. You understood. As for this meal, Shopkeeper Liao cheerfully gave you a 20% discount. He also gave you a pot of spirit wine as a gift. He treated you with great courtesy. Leaving the gathering pavilion, you and Kai Laoju went separate ways. You went alone to the steward hall. The assessment went smoothly. It was completed in 1 hour. The steward in charge of the assessment imprinted magical power onto your identity plaque, printing a leaf from the spirit plant pattern on the back of the plaque was marked similarly, signifying that you officially became a first-rank low-grade spirit plant master. Your status finally changed. You walked along Method Street, fiddling with your identity plaque, in a good mood. While passing the street side, a female cultivator approached to chat. She asked if you needed accompaniment. You didn't look away. You walked straight past. She spat. She cursed you, saying you were really boring. You were too lazy to bother. You continued onward. You arrived at the Ruan family courtyard. This place is near the center of Fang City. The private courtyard even has its own formation. You casually inquired. The worst courtyard costs 300 per year. And it's fully rented out now. If you want to rent, you have to go to Jishi Hall to queue for a number. I heard this year the queue has already reached over 900. You are left speechless. If it weren't for the safety of the second-tier formation here, no one would rent it. When you reach the gate of the Ruan estate, you raise your hand and knock. You knock for a while but no one answers. You have no choice but to send a transmission talisman to Ruan the Taoist companion. A moment later, the transmission talisman lights up. The other side says they are handling matters outside. They can't return shortly. Instead, they'll give you an address, asking you to make a trip. You furrow your brow. It feels off. After pondering for a moment, you still choose to be cautious and wait a bit longer. You reply, "It's not peaceful outside right now. Wait. Just let me know when he gets back." Ruan the Taoist companion leaves again. You didn't expect to hit another dead end. Having experienced the power of the 100 treasure glazed essence, you're itching to try the remaining techniques. But it seems you'll have to wait a bit longer. It's unwise to act rashly. You wander around the market at leisure. You buy a spirit beast pouch and some meat. Then you head back to the shantytown. The next day, you make a fragrant breakfast with spirit rice and beast meat. Just as you're about to dig in, the knocking resumes. You peek through the crack in the door and see a neighbor who rarely visits. Out of politeness, you still invited the person in. The visitor wore a forced smile. Said, "I heard that cultivator Chin has become a first-rank spirit plant master. I came especially to congratulate." He also carried a small bag of gifts. "A modest token cannot fully express my respect." They're so enthusiastic. You find it hard to refuse. You thanked them and accepted the gifts. Then the neighbor's gaze fell on the lean meat powder on your table. He drooled with envy. After a brief chat, he politely took his leave. You finished your meal and were about to wash the dishes. Knock, knock, knock. And damn it, it's the knocking again. What's going on today? You furrowed your brows. Muttering, you leaned again toward the crack. When you looked, you were almost startled. Good heavens. It turned out to be your female neighbor, Li Yanli. She had on an exquisite makeup today. She also carried a small pouch in her hand. Seeing her like that, you actually breathed a sigh of relief. At least she's probably just here to socialize, not for any other purpose. Sure enough, Li Yanli entered the house. After a few idle chats, she left. But even with a thick layer of powder on her face, it couldn't hide the underlying gauntness. It seems she hasn't emerged from the death of the cage yet. Without a great patron, the future looks hard. You didn't keep her. When she left, she gave you a lingering, complex, sorrowful look. In the days that followed, people kept showing up one after another. It gave you a massive headache. You hate this kind of socializing the most. But when they bring gifts to your door, it's hard to turn them away. You can only thank them one by one. That day, you were meditating on a cushion. Your communication device suddenly lit up. You stopped your practice. You picked it up and looked. It was a message from Taoist friend Ruan. He said he's now available for a trade. He's on his way. But he has an urgent matter at hand. He doesn't have time to go home. This trip will be short, just 1 or 2 years. or as long as 35 years without returning. If it's convenient for you, we can trade now. He then added another message, saying, "Don't worry. I just ran into an acquaintance from the patrol team. They're also here." You hesitated for a moment, but you went back. You asked where to meet. He said the place is on the road heading east. You agreed. You put away your things. You stepped straight out the door. You passed a shantytown. By the river, a few middle-aged female cultivators were scrubbing their clothes. Seeing you, they didn't even bother to greet you. When you walked away, they muttered sourly, "Aren't you just a first-rank Lingzi master? You're not an alchemist. What's with the arrogance?" You curled your lip. Too lazy to argue with them. In the time it takes to sip a cup of tea, you arrived at the place Ruan Dao fellow mentioned. You weren't in a hurry to reveal yourself, so you crouched in the distant grass and observed for a while. A cold wind swept over the overgrown weeds. Not far away, a few silhouettes stood on the road. Ruan Dao fellow, smiling broadly, was chatting with two people wearing Raingate patrol uniforms. The patrol team members were just talking. You fixed your gaze and saw. Those two patrol members were familiar faces, often patrolling the shantytown. So it was them. Now the last hint of doubt in your mind was dispelled, and you smiled. You stood up and walked straight over, feigning calm, without showing any intention. Ruan Dao fellow, upon seeing you, immediately greeted you joyfully. He also bowed slightly to the two patrol members, saying, "You two wait a moment while I handle something small. I'll be right back." Then he turned to you politely and said, "I've been extremely busy lately." You forced a smile and asked directly, "Did you bring the items?" She, with an eager expression, asked, "Is your beast tooth rice ready as well?" You slapped your storage bag and took out a small sack of beast tooth rice. Exactly 10 jin. You opened it and gave him a glance. Spirit rice the size of a canine tooth. White with a hint of red. Fragrant and aromatic. Indeed, it's beast tooth rice. Of truly good quality. A flicker of greed appeared in Ruan Dao fellow's eyes, but it passed quickly. Then he suddenly asked again, "May I ask, Shin Dao Yu? The harvest of this beast elegant rice should be more than 10 jin, right?" When you hear that, your brows furrow. "How much have I taken? It doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, does it?" He hurriedly chuckles awkwardly and says, "Just asking casually." Then he pulls that beast hide out of the storage bag, one hand holding the leather, the other hand handing over the rice. Beast hide in hand. You inspect it and find no issues. Just as you are about to breathe a sigh of relief, a sudden, intense alarm rings in your internal chi and blood. A precise killing intent pierces straight into your mind. You instantly understand, but your face remains expressionless. You still lower your head, pretending to examine the beast hide. 2 or 3. There are 2 more. Your mind races. 5 distinct killing intents silently lock onto you from different directions. 3 of them come from Ruan Dao Yu and those two Lingyu Gate Patrol cultivators. The other two are hidden in the shadows. In the blink of an eye, you realize you've fallen into a trap someone else dug. Yet not a hint of panic shows on your face. The soft Dao involves Qi refinement. 5 layers. 2 patrols. One of them is 5 layers. The two in the shadows currently cannot sense any cultivation level. Countless thoughts flash through your mind. You make a decision instantly. You leisurely put away the beast hide. A smile returns to your face. You pull a small brocade pouch from the storage bag again. To unleash the technique aimed at those two Lingyu Gate patrols. The 2 patrol officers work hard. No big deal. When you pass through the alley later, please look after me. Saying that, you walk toward them to deliver the items. The two exchange a glance. A hint of sarcasm curls at the corners of their mouths. Just a few steps away from them, the moment you're about to act. Hey, aren't you a gentleman? Running over to play a wild battle? You could have said so earlier. A sarcastic voice replies. You turn around and see. It's the seductive green-clothed woman from the brothel. Standing beside her is a hulking bearded man. Both exude a murderous aura. Staring intently at your cultivation. 4th tier cultivation. 5 people have all reached the 5th tier. They're a gang of cut cultivators. That kid is seriously damn cowardly. At this moment, Ruan Dao also stops pretending. His fierce expression fully shows. He licks his lips, taunting him several times, but he doesn't come out. If it weren't for the 2 patrol officers risking themselves, we wouldn't have been able to handle him. We had to resolve it quickly. Grab the items and leave, so as not to let the night drag on and cause more trouble. The bearded man says in a deep, resonant voice. Just because his patrol officer is at 5th tier cultivation, he scoffs. He doesn't even consider you, Linglong, a 3rd tier cultivator, worth his attention. The 5 have already surrounded you. But the next moment, you strike first. Your legs snap sharply. Your whole body launches upward like a cannonball. You swing your hand back and strike the storage bag. You intended to draw the Azure Spirit Sword. But in the heat of the moment, you ended up grabbing a spirit shovel used for turning soil. No time to worry about that. Your vital energy instantly surges into the shovel. Your arm muscles bulge like steel rods. Targeting the nearest 5th tier patrol officer. Without a second thought, you swing the shovel down hard. The patrol officer is startled by your speed and feels his vision blur. You are already right in front of him. He doesn't dare to linger. He hurriedly forms a spell. A blue shield instantly envelops his whole body. You swat at his mana shield. Your shovel hits it like paper, and it shatters instantly. A look of shock flashes across his face. He quickly activates a golden light talisman. Zhou Shen raises another layer of golden shield. You swat again, another golden talisman. It doesn't even hold for a breath. It shatters again. The patrol officer is now in close range. He retreats in panic. But he inadvertently brings his neck under your blade. The shovel pierces him, spraying blood everywhere. He clutches his neck and collapses to the ground. His body twitches a few times. He dies on the spot. The scene unfolds at lightning speed. A single glance. A self-important 5th-tier cultivator is instantly killed by you. The 4 onlookers are all stunned. Unfortunately, the body cultivator retreats quickly. Another 6th-tier patrol officer reacts the fastest. While leaping backward, an ultimate windblade technique is already shooting toward you. You ignore it. Your whole body's chi and blood power erupts completely. A crystal glazed treasure robe instantly covers your entire body. You leap up again. Bang! The ultimate windblade technique slams into your chest with a muffled thud. Yet it doesn't even scratch your skin. How is that possible? The patrolling cultivator's eyes bulge out. The 3 on the soft path also react. All kinds of spells and artifacts go crazy, hurling at you from behind. You completely ignore the attacks from behind. Your gaze locks tightly on that 6th-tier refining chi patrol. You swing your spirit spade downwards. The man hurriedly summons a jet black round shield artifact to block in front of him. The spirit spade strikes the round shield. Sparks flying everywhere. That cultivator is split apart by your terrifying force, shield and all. Flung dozens of jong away. He crashes with a thud onto a dirt slope. But he spits out a huge mouthful of fresh blood. His eyes filled with terror. This is god-damned human power. It feels like being rammed head-on by a beast. You shift your body and take down several unavoidable spells. In a single stride you flash to the cultivator's front. Reach out and grab him. Trying to resist. But you seize him in one hand. You press his wrist down hard. The power of a refining chi cultivator is a joke in front of you, the body cultivation monster. You kick him onto the ground. Step on him hard. Raise the spirit spade. And jab it into his head repeatedly. Splat, splat, splat. And in an instant his head is turned into a smashed watermelon. The 3 behind on the soft path are already terrified stiff. Even a 6th-tier refining chi can't withstand a single move. What the hell is this luminous glass treasure one? 5th layer. Impossible. How could you be this fast? Ruan Taoist finally sees the way. He's terrified to the point his soul flees. He summons an African artifact. He just wants to run. The spirit field in your hand turns into a lingering afterimage. Whooshing out. Your spirit spade slices cleanly, cutting off his thigh with precision. The soft Taoist ally screams as he crashes down from midair. He drags his broken leg, struggling on the ground. Without hesitation, you dash forward and pick up the spirit spade. Not a hint of doubt. A head bursts upward with a splat. The remaining green-shirted woman and the bearded brute turn pale at the sight. They split up and flee. But compared to your speed, you bound forward several times and catch up behind the bearded brute. Your right hand reaches out, gripping the back of his neck. You yank hard. Taoist, don't kill me. We're all surnamed Ruan. Your gaze turns icy. You suddenly swing the spade. Half his neck is cleaved open. You whip your head around. The spirit artifact in your hand flashes into a streak of light again, aiming at the fleeing green-shirted woman. It's the spirit spade. It pierces through her back with tremendous force, sending her soaring several meters, pinning her hard to the ground. On the wasteland, your whole body is drenched in blood. Your strength soars. You swiftly loot the 5 people's storage. A fireball spell burned the corpses clean. I meticulously erased all traces. After confirming everything was foolproof, I turned and vanished into the wasteland. With this level of power, they still dare to be a Jia Shu. I returned to the hut. I began tallying the loot. 2 Lingyu sect cultivators together had over 500 spirit stones, a few magical artifacts, and 2 medium-quality talismans that hadn't been used yet. The pitch-black round shield I had split open was the only medium-grade artifact. It can still be used for cultivation. The other 3 contributed over 600 spirit stones and some low-grade items. This round gave me over 1,000 spirit stones. Sure enough, the golden belt of murder and arson. I couldn't help but sigh. I kept all the valuable items. The remaining trash, I burned it all with a fireball spell. After doing all that, I finally began to ponder. These 5 are probably soft path cultivators. A beast-mute woman who coveted me had only just temporarily found a helper. Moreover, members of the rain-soaked gate were mixing with Jia Shu. The hidden motives behind this are probably deep. But as long as it doesn't affect me, I don't bother to care. If today I hadn't broken through the 5th level of body refinement, now I would be the one inventorying my own storage bag. 2 days later, the shantytown's atmosphere tightened again. Rain-soaked gate lost 2 patrols. This matter escalated. It's like slapping the sect's face. This sect's cultivators are too arrogant. First it was Long Dao friend. Now even members of Rain-soaked gate dare to kill. Listening to the alley's gossip, the corner of my mouth twitched. I hoisted the spirit hoe and went out to work. You've already turned over your own 5 acres. And you casually turned over Master Su Dan's 3 acres as well. Then you gather the abundant twin fruits from the tree. After putting them into the spirit beast bag, they're useful for planting spirit herbs. Just after finishing Master Su Dan's transmission, you arrive. He's about to fire up the furnace for alchemy. He tells you to go over. Your spirit is invigorated. It's finally about to start. You rush straight to Master Su Dan's courtyard. Upon entering the room, Master Su Dan is already preparing. This time I'm refining a first-rank premium elixir, the bone cleansing pill. Even though you had guessed it earlier, you can't help but be moved at this moment. He's about to break through to become a premium alchemist on the spot. Then I'm the sole witness. Come with me, I'll show you something great. Master Su Dan chuckles. He leads you inside, shrouded in mystery. His smile gives you goosebumps. He pushes open the door to the innermost chamber. A wave of heat rushes at you. You look inside and are instantly stunned. In the room stands a purple alchemy furnace. All kinds of workstations are fully equipped. What surprises you most is that beneath the furnace is connected to earthfire. This damn thing is a complete alchemy chamber. Master Su Dan watches your dumbfounded stare and says proudly, "How's that? Who could have thought?" that beneath this shantytown lies a branch of the earth vein fire. Only my spot in the whole shantytown can draw it out. You remain speechless for a long while. Such a maneuver. It's like freeloading sect-level resources. No wonder a mid-grade alchemist would stay in this dump for years. Sultan Master adds. Of course, this earth fire is only suitable for crafting low-tier pills, they say. For second tier and above, you need to refine your own true fire, they add. You silently click your tongue in disbelief. Even first-tier premium pills are considered low-grade in their eyes. You glance at your own pile of junk. It's a miracle if anything can be refined. You think you'll have to find a way to piggyback on their alchemy room. You tally it up in your mind. All right, let's do it. I'm about to start, you say. You stand nearby, watching without moving a muscle. Sultan Master's expression turns solemn. The alchemy process proceeds in one seamless flow. Not a single mistake can be tolerated. You nod. You stand quietly to the side. Sultan Master opens the fire valve. With a booming crack, the scorching earth fire erupts instantly. They pull out various spirit herbs and begin extracting the medicinal embryos. You stare wide-eyed, carefully watching each of their movements. It's an exceptionally sophisticated refining technique. Like clouds drifting on water. Silky smooth beyond compare. In an instant, all the medicinal embryos are fully refined. Their quality and purity far surpass yours. Next comes the ingredient mixing. They grab a handful with ease. The dosage precise to the millimeter. It would take you half a day to complete these 2 steps. They finish them in a quarter of an hour. That's the gap. The next step is the main act. They form a seal with their hand. Give it a gentle flick, and it instantly becomes utterly docile. You watch his stunning fire control seal. Your heart aches with impatience. Ready to go. He raises his hand and executes a move. The radiant embryo enters the alchemy furnace. You stare fixedly, fearing to miss any detail. Time passes bit by bit. Sultan stands idle. His expression grows increasingly solemn. It reaches the final step. Holding his breath. At that moment, a puff of black smoke erupts from the alchemy furnace. It all fails. You can't help but feel regret. This batch of spirit talent would be worth several hundred spiritual stones, right? But Sultan's expression remains unchanged. As if he had anticipated it. He calmly clears away the residue. He begins unhurriedly. The second time, he prepared a dozen or so batches of ingredients. The second attempt fails. He keeps practicing until the 12th try. Night has already grown deep. Sultan's forehead is drenched in sweat. His nerves are taut. Finally, the alchemy furnace emits a crisp chime. An extremely rich alchemical fragrance instantly spreads. Sultan of Dan City is overjoyed beyond expectation. He reaches out with a gesture. 6 turquoise spirit pills slip smoothly into his hand. You stare eagerly at those pills. You swallow your saliva. This thing. A single one can fetch a sky-high price of thousands of snacks at the auction house. This also means Sultan Master has successfully advanced to a top-grade alchemist. Congratulations to Sultan Master with timely congratulations. Sultan Master is in high spirits. He puts away the bone cleansing pill. He then pulls out a jade bottle and tosses it to you. Those who see it get a share. You take it and see it's a spirit gathering pill. Thank you, Master Sudan. Compared to the pills, this full observation of the alchemy process is the most precious reward for you. Companion Chin. In the coming year, I will solidify the production of top-grade pills. Su Yuqing. Master Sudan said. Continue helping me plant spirit herbs. But you immediately smile. What does Brother Su need to plant? Just say it directly. Su Yuqing looks at you with a hint of surprise. Then he becomes understanding. Dao also notes that after Companion Chin showed an innate gift on the Lingzi path, need not be restrained. Just call me Brother Su. All right. Brother Su. This time I need you to plant 2 kinds. First tier medium grade spirit fat, containing tobacco and spirit lord grain. He takes out 2 packets of seeds and hands them to you. You take them and look. One packet holds 20 to 30 black grass seeds. The other packet contains a dozen or so peanut-sized fruits. Su Yuqing smiles brightly at you. These 2 spirit plants have recognizable traits. You ponder for a moment. You nod and say, naturally, I recognize that cold tobacco has many uses. But this spirit lord fruit contains potent poison. Its leaves are like giant fangs. It must be fed with poisonous insects. Moreover, these 2 spirit plants have strict spirit energy requirements. In a first-tier spirit vein, unless you irrigate them with high-grade spirit and absolute water. Otherwise they are extremely hard to mature. Su Yuqing admiringly patted your shoulder. I was right after all. How about you? Cultivating mid-grade spirit plants isn't easy. Regardless of the harvest, I can promise you one thing. Your eyes lit up. You agreed without hesitation. Early the next morning, you shouldered the spirit hoe and headed to the forest field. The 8-acre forest field. You planned to plant 3 acres of spirit rice. 3 acres of longevity sprout rice. The remaining 2 acres you would sow with tobacco-containing plants and spirit master fruit. In half a day, you finished planting the entire 8 acres. And gave it a trial run. The ultimate spirit feather technique. Winter passed, spring arrived. You returned to the spirit field. The golden rice field. Several magnetic strips flickered with light. Name, Golden Sensitive Magnetic Strip, Weak Mana, Maturity 2%. Name, Beast Elegant Rice Entry, Weak Health times 5. Maturity 1%. Name, Received Elegant Rice Entry, Accelerated Maturation times 5. Maturity 2%. In the newly opened 2 acres of forest field, 3 entry names also appeared. Tobacco-containing entry, Weak Soul Energy times, Maturity 1%. Name, Tobacco-containing entry, Accelerated Maturation times 5. Maturity 2%. Name, Spirit Master Fruit Entry. Regenerative Spirit Seeds times 3. Maturity 2%. Regenerative Spirit Seeds.